Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for stopping by the channel to check out another video. Today is going to be a simple one. We're just going to get to some cheap recent pickups. So these were purchased online from a variety of sources. We'll get into it. And I think each of them is kind of cool in their own way. And none of these cards were very expensive. So I think I have maybe 6 to 10 cards here. We'll get into them momentarily, but it had been a little bit, so just wanted to pop on, say hello, and check in. So let's turn the camera around and we'll get into these goodies. I have some baseball, some hockey, and even some football cards in this little stack to get to today. So hang tight. All right, let's get into the goods. We're gonna start with baseball. I'm gonna briefly move. I have 1 hockey card, 2 football cards, and then we'll go back to baseball to finish it out. So baseball will be bookending today's cards, and have that Connor McDavid game used jersey up there in the background, which is going to come into play for the 1 hockey card. But let's start with the baseball. Here's one from my recent COMC order. Check it out. Really pumped about this card. This is the 2004 Topps Gold Pedro Martinez. I've talked a little bit about Pedro of late. Seem to have been kind of in a routine of picking up some of his cards. Pitchers don't get a lot of love, and so he is very reasonably priced, but definitely the most dominant pitcher that I've ever seen in person with my own 2 eyes as a baseball fan. And I'm saying that being someone who's been to plenty of games over the decades, but Pedro was as good as they came. And of course, what drew me to this one, been talking a lot recently about collecting moments or significant events from the history of sports. And obviously 2004 was the year for the Boston Red Sox. They broke the 86-year curse and finally won that World Series. I have such fond memories of that. I was actually living in Massachusetts at the time and went to a ton of games around that time period and just was an absolute blast. So wanted to get that in gold, and amazingly, this is serial numbered to the year of release. So I got copy 1695 of 2004. Amazingly, was able to scoop that for about $5, and it's in really, really great shape. So yeah, just more evidence that pitchers don't get a lot of love. I have one more here on the baseball front that is also from the COMC order, and kind of plucked it to show on today's cheap pickup episode. It is a buyback card, which you've seen me show plenty of times on the channel. It's from the 2017 Rediscover Topps program. So they bought back all these Topps cards, stamped them with a Rediscover Topps stamp, and then issued them as inserts in all kinds of products in 2017. Everything from flagship Topps to Allen and Ginter baseball. You could pull one of these. Well, I found one recently that is the 1989 Topps Turn Back the Clock, featuring the Hank Aaron Home Run King card, originally from 1974. 15 years later on the Turn Back the Clock from 89. And stamped, as you can see here, with a silver Rediscover Topps buyback stamp. So awesome buyback there that I will evaluate for inclusion in my buyback Franken set, which is a binder of cards number 1 through 792. That's nothing but buybacks from all different years. I did do an episode on it where I kind of previewed the state of the binder, but it was maybe a year or so ago. So maybe I'll dust that one off and do an update. And we'll see if that Hank Aaron makes the cut. Now to the 1 hockey card, and I referenced it earlier, but I have this great Connor McDavid up in the background. And this guy, he's about to win his 3rd MVP, just won another scoring title, which I think would be like his 4th or 5th, just off the top of my head. He's been in the top 5 in MVP voting, every year since he's been in the league. Just a monster. Sadly, the Oilers didn't make it too far into the Stanley Cup playoffs, but individually, he had a season for the ages. I've been collecting McDavid for years, but I've still been trying to grab some others here recently, even throughout the NHL playoffs. And so I showed this card a while back. It's a game jersey card from his 2nd year. But what's cool about it is on the back, it does indicate that it's actually a jersey piece that was used in an official NHL game. Well, with this coming out at the beginning of the season in his 2nd year, logic tells you that this jersey that's embedded in this card was not only worn during an NHL game, but was worn during an NHL game during his rookie season. And I just think that's really, really cool. So I pulled that one out of the cream cheese box during a rummage recently. And when I did, I was reminded of how much I liked it. And I almost inspired myself, I guess. And I ended up hitting eBay and picking up this copy, which has a solid blue relic. So I have the mix blue and orange. And now I've got a solid blue to go with it. Again, this was only just a hair over $30. And I think that's like criminal. I mean, this guy is, as far as the hobby goes, he's like the Mike Trout of hockey. There are actually a lot of parallels between the first, 7 or 8 years of Trout's career and the first 7 or 8 years of McDavid's career. Dude is unbelievable. So to get a game-worn jersey piece that was worn in his rookie season for, $30 and change was just, I couldn't pass it up. So I would honestly even buy more copies of this card if I find them, around that price point. But for now, we got the nice 2-color and we got the blue to go with it. Now we're going to move into football. I have 2 football cards. They're really a variation on the same card, but let's take a look at the first one. This is also a buyback. So much like that Hank Aaron that we saw a few minutes ago, in 2015, which I think was their last year with the license to produce NFL football cards, Topps did football buybacks as well. They were stamped with a 60th anniversary stamp. And recently I was able to track this one down. Check it out. From the 2010 Topps release, Peyton Manning. It is you can see in the upper right corner here, it's the blue foil stamp. So love the buybacks, including football. I have a whole page in my Football Z-Folio that contains just football buybacks. So this will go right onto that page. And for me, I was a really big football fan. I still am, but really big football fan during the Brady Manning era. And, there was always a debate about those two guys fueling each other and who is the better of the two. I have a really close friend who's a lifelong Colts fan. So just a lot of memories in that rivalry and wanted to grab this card. Love the image as well and love the fact that it's a buyback of a all-time great and a Hall of Famer. And then just kind of happened to stumble upon it based on this, started looking at 2010 Peyton Manning and found the gold version of the 2010 Manning as well. So just like with baseball, we saw the Pedro at the beginning of the episode. These are serial numbered to year of release. So I have copy 1503 of 2010 here. I think this is my first Topps gold football card, if I'm not mistaken. Although I do have a couple others since discovering this one that are on the way. I'm not becoming a football collector. Don't be concerned or asking yourself if I'm feeling all right. I've always dabbled just a little bit in both basketball and football. Just don't get into them to the extent that I do baseball and hockey. So cool couple of Manning cards there. And then let's go back to baseball to finish it out. And there's a nice link here. So, one of the reasons that I chose that Manning card in gold, in addition to finding the buyback version of it, I love that we've got the same design used for the football set in 2010 as we had for baseball. And this got me to thinking about another card that I had talked about recently when I did a guest appearance on a show for my buddies Dylan and Adam, their Turn Back the Clock episode. We talked about most collected players. And I mentioned in that episode how Ken Griffey Jr.'s final card came the year before Mike Trout's first card. And I thought that was really cool. Well, I went out and got the Topps gold version of Ken Griffey Jr.'s final Topps base card. So this is the 2010 Topps. Same design here as the Manning, same year. Ken Griffey Jr., gold, numbered to 2010. I love the image. I love that he's back with the Mariners, which is the team that I associate him with. No offense to Cincinnati Reds fans out there. And was just really pleased to find this card. I try to sneakily collect Ken Griffey Jr. I don't have the budget and I have too many other hobby interests to get, to really kind of swim in the pool with the big boys when it comes to Griffey. But I love finding kind of serial numbered diamonds in the rough like this. And this was only $10 or it might have even been $8. But it was 10 or less. So pumped about that new Griffey, pumped about all of these cheap pickups. Certainly appreciate you stopping by to check them out here on the channel. And as you know, I'll be back in the very near future with some more sports card content. Till then, take care and enjoy the hobby, everybody. See ya.